I wanted to bring you a typical day in the life of a famous broadcaster podcaster, but since none of them would consent to an interview, instead I'm doing mine. I'm Larry Fedoruk, and this is Later That Same Life. Each week on my podcast, different topic, discussion, or story from our lives.
Season 12, Chapter 4.
A day in life.
Woke up, fell out of bed, dragged a comb across my head. Found my way downstairs and drank a cup. And looking up, I noticed I was late. Wait, no, that's someone else. I live in a one-level apartment. Fairly spacious, but there's no downstairs. If I did get out of bed and make my way downstairs to drink a cup, that would mean I took the elevator down and walked across the street to Tim Hortons. I don't do that. I make coffee. The only way I'd go to Tim's first thing in the morning is if I was out of coffee. I don't run out of coffee. I buy big cans of coffee, 2 at a time. As soon as that last one gets opened within days, I go out and buy 2 more cans of coffee. I don't run out of coffee. I rarely run out of anything because I have LOCD. I talked about this in episode 138 of this podcast. LOCD is made up. I made it up. It stands for Livable Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. I believe my OCD is minor and that I mostly have control of it, and I can live with it. I could be kidding myself, but I never run out of coffee or basic essentials. Sometimes I will see people in my elevator early in the morning coming up with a big tray of Tim's. I always think, man, can't you even make your own coffee at home? It's not that tough. I can show you how. Well, maybe they just love their Tim's. My Tim's is not even a Tim's. It's a Tim's kiosk at the gas station. Makes buying gas a nightmare. Everyone parks willy-nilly to rush in and get their Tim's. People buying gas fill their tanks, then they go in to wait in line at Tim's, which means you're waiting in line just to buy gas. No one thought this through. We'll just put it in a Tim's. Also across the street, they put a Starbucks kiosk into the grocery store. It's a Metro. So that means you can conveniently overpay for coffee while overpaying for groceries. I'm not a Starbucks guy, I'm a Tim's guy. I do plan to go to Starbucks one day just to check it out. I'm saving up. Anyway, I make the best coffee at home. And my LOCD helps me make a great cup of coffee consistently. Sometimes the OCD does backfire. You know those soft mesh ball bath shower scrubbers on a string? They have no name, by the way. They're not loofahs. They're not sponges. They have no name. Go to the drugstore and try and ask for them. It's like a 5-minute description. Somebody should name these things. I tried. Look it up online. Those soft mesh ball bath shower scrubbers on a string. You know what they call them online? Soft mesh ball bath shower scrubbers on a string. Or I also saw this, multicolor soft mesh shower poof bath body scrubber. Or mini soft body bubble sponge bath ball nylon scrubber. It's ridiculous. How about a bath ball? Bath ball on a string. Mesh ball. Ball scrubber. Yeah, maybe not that last one. Although I have used it to, okay, never mind. Anyway, those. I love those. About every 6 months, though, these cute little bath balls seem to break down and explode into some giant shower misshapen mesh monster. Well, it's time for a new one. I know what I'll do. I'll buy 2, so that when one blows up, I'll have another one handy. Except that I would always forget that I did that when the one I had blew up. So I'd go to the drugstore and buy 2, bring it home, Then I go, oh man, I forgot. I already had an extra. 6 months later, I do it again. I ended up with like 9 of these things. Started handing them out as birthday gifts. Anyway, where was I? Well, yeah, I might be OCD, but I can sleep peacefully at night because I know that in the morning there will be coffee, and should I decide to shower, there will be a friendly bath ball on a string, along with my favorite body wash. Check this out. A few years back, in the space of like a month, they stopped selling my favorite shampoo, deodorant, and body wash. These are made by 3 different companies. I suspected a conspiracy. Someone's out to get me. How can I be expected to go through a day without these specific items? Hey, I gotta be me. My bath ball on a string would say, hey man, what are you doing? This is not our body wash. I became like the Thor Heyerdahl of personal hygiene. Constantly exploring. I was looking everywhere, popping into strange supermarkets, unfamiliar pharmacies, way out Walmarts, the odd convenience store, everywhere. Excuse me, do you sell this particular shampoo? Sir, this is a KFC. I know, I'm just so desperate. I sent emails to the manufacturers. Nothing. I've since substituted my shampoo and deodorant to my general discontent, but the big one, the body wash, as I started my last bottle, I found it on Amazon. Of course, highly overpriced, and mostly only in 6-packs. A 6-pack of body wash? At my age, that's a lifetime supply. This whole thing is a byproduct of the Amazon avalanche. Why should manufacturers bust their hump shipping their products to 10 or 20 different retail distributors? Supermarkets actually charge vendors and suppliers fees, delivery fee, shelf placement fee, marketing fee, inventory fee, and so on. Screw that, many have said. Just send it all to Amazon. Sure, Amazon will deliver it to your door, but at an inflated price. And I can no longer just walk into a store and buy my body wash. Well, I finally found a decent deal on a 6-pack, next day delivery on Amazon, in case I was having a shower emergency. And I'm having this discussion with my daughter. She has some of my proclivity for specificity. Hey, so how long do you think a 6-pack of body wash will last? Well, do you use a soft mesh ball bath shower scrubber on a string? Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I do. In that case, well, we each picked a date in the future. We thought that I would run out of body wash, and we made a small side bet, coffee. Tim's, not Starbucks. We're not millionaires. Within a month, I got fired from work. I had one of those shower before work jobs as opposed to have to shower after work. I mean, yeah, media is a dirty business, but generally shower before work. 4 months later, COVID pandemic declared. Isolated. These 2 major events totally threw off the shower routine. I hate showering, by the way. Hate. I'm using the word hate here about showering. I love being clean, but hate showering. You can see the dichotomy. So suddenly I wasn't showering every day, sometimes not every second day. I'd call people back and I'd say, hey, sorry I missed your call, I was having my weekly shower. And then we'd all laugh. Only I knew I wasn't joking. My daughter and I called off the bet, but eventually we noticed that we each missed our predictions by a good 18 months. I do shower more often now. What does any of this have to do with a day in the life of Larry Fedoruk? Well, these kinds of things can be very typical of what goes on in a day in my life. Sometimes all of these thoughts and issues before 9 a.m. I usually wake up around 6 a.m. every day. I don't set any alarm. I don't even any longer keep a clock in my bedroom. If I'm filling in on an early morning talk show or otherwise have to be somewhere, I do set an alarm just in case. I use my smartphone. Honestly, one time I used the alarm on my cell phone and somehow I screwed it up and it didn't work. Didn't matter, I was up at 6 anyway. But ever since then, I use my phone's timer. Isn't that sad? If I want to make sure that I'm up at 6, I go to my timer and then I do math. Let me see, it's 7:30, so that's 11 hours and 30 minutes till 6 a.m. No, wait, no, it's 10 hours and 30 minutes. So 10 hours, 30 minutes. It's 30 minutes would make it 8 o'clock, and then 4 hours would make it midnight, and then another 6 would make it 6 a.m. Okay, good. Okay, let's make it 10 hours and 20 minutes just to be safe. Start timer. What a Luddite. I found out, too, that you can shut off your ringer and all notifications, and the timer will still ding out loud when it zeroes out. So I'm up at 6. I do a good 10 minutes of looking out the window, even if it's still dark. It's important to make time for some good, solid gazing out of the window. At the end of the day, sometimes, it ends up being my favorite screen of the day. I try and drink a lot of water early, then off to the desk in my office. Check messages, emails, Facebook birthdays. Oh, Gail, happy birthday, all the best. Didn't you just have a birthday last year? Haha, LOL. Hey, Mario, happy birthday. Didn't you just have a birthday last year? LOL. Hey, Marianne, didn't you just have a... Then I do the Wordle. I also turn on the TV news.
Riots nationwide are prompting local governments to declare martial law.
News is on in my home office most of the day as I work in there. Lots of reasons. It was the business I was in. News talk radio. I still like to keep up because I do guest hosting and a weekly podcast. And also I'm pretty much a news junkie. I start with CBC News Network. About 9 a.m. I go to CNN. Later in the day I'll check out my local news station to find out who was shot where at 3 a.m., where the drunk driver ran into the lights standard, because that's basically what local news is. Shootings and car accidents. And oh yeah, fires. I don't watch CTV News for a couple of reasons. One, I'm no longer at Bell Media, so I'm not obligated. Also, they don't run news on their news network until 9 a.m. Before that, they have a morning show. Your Morning. The show that Ben Mulrooney is now too old for. Remember, he was part of the new wave that killed Canada AM? Now there's a new wave where young, beautiful people in hip clothing do cooking and lifestyle segments. They do in-depth reports on avocado skincare and yoga for dogs. Apparently even Ben Mulrooney outgrew that. Sorry, Ben, I didn't mean to give you a shot. I know you just lost your father and all. I'm sure he was very proud. You know, a lifelong politician, lawyer, prime minister, a daughter who became a lawyer and a politician, and a son who did a fantastic 90-second red carpet interview with J-Lo. CTV News Network. At 9, they do start their news, but they have this anchor who giggled her way through all of the stories. I'm not kidding. After a while, I just couldn't take it anymore. As the news plays, I try and create an innovative post for Facebook, sometimes Twitter, now X. I don't always get big reaction, but I still dedicate myself to put up something interesting or thought-provoking. Some days it feels like I'm the only one doing that. I do also scroll Facebook in the morning, but I try to keep it down to about 10 minutes. Later on in the day, I'll go to Newsfeed, and then on the left, I click on videos. Those I could just watch for hours. Biggest complaint about Facebook seems to be that there's too much garbage, too many crazies, critics. Here's the thing. Facebook is life. You get what you give. If you scroll Newsfeed and like something, click like. It takes a split second. Upper right corner of each post, there's 3 dots. Click on those. Choose an option. It's not that tough to block people. Take control of your algorithm. You'd be amazed at how much better Facebook will seem to you, and within days. It's like any relationship. It's a two-way street. Requires some investment in order to reap rewards. You're saying, hey, is that fair and balanced? Who cares? It's Facebook. Reading posts from the unfair and imbalanced is not my idea of a good time. Incidentally, if you're scrolling Facebook and you don't like something, you don't have to actually say anything. Oh sure, stand by your beliefs, but no one is expecting you to express your dissatisfaction. You can say nothing and scroll on. Don't know if you knew that was an option. So 9 a.m. I start the coffee and go to CNN. No MSNBC, Bloomberg, or Fox, just CNN. Yeah, I find them slightly left of center, but so am I. My biggest criticism of them and news in general is that they are really focused almost completely on politics. CNN's case, American politics. When did news become all tied up with politics? It's like having a radio station that plays all Beatles. Hey, there's other songs. CNN used to have a Sunday morning show I loved, Reliable Sources with Brian Stelter. For an hour each week, they discussed media and its influence on society. And the show was canceled. The show admitted that Donald Trump was ratings. So CNN and others now constantly bring you stories of divisiveness, separation, tribal warfare, and won't admit that they are culpable. They feed the fire. Politicians play them like a fiddle while the world burns. Talk about something else, can't ya? Oh, every once in a while they try. They do these good news stories or special features, but then it's right back to politics. Politician walks out of a government room and there's 10 cameras and 30 microphones in their face. A politician calls a news conference and all the reporters line up like obedient school children. Who else gets all that free media? No one. It's not that politics can't be news. It's just not all the news. Yeah, so there's a few minutes of my typical day where I'm yelling at the TV screen. Otherwise, often I'm writing, I'm working on a podcast, I'm editing, producing. I break that up with walks, running errands, talking to friends and family, taking public transit to the store that has my cans of coffee at half price. By around 4-ish, I go to the kitchen to prepare my evening meal. I enjoy the kitchen, I enjoy cooking. I get it all ready. I wash the dishes, and I keep it warm for when I'm ready to eat it. And then it's just there as if someone else had prepared it for me. By that time, I'm usually ready to play a little online poker. A couple of hours. I love poker. Played in a live league for over a decade. After poker, dinner is served. I eat it while I'm watching Jeopardy, which I have PVR'd. Hey, Jeopardy! It seems like for the last 6 months, as a run-up to your Tournament of Champions, you had the Also-Ran tournament, the Second Chance tournament, the Wild Card. Maybe it wasn't 6 months, but it sure felt like it. Who decided that a Tournament of Losers was a good idea? And now the Tournament of Champions quarterfinals are finally on. You know what? They have no one who has captured the imagination of Jeopardy fans. I mean, I still enjoy the show, but boy, they need a new executive producer. Hey, I can't do everything. After that, I scan the channels. There's nothing on network TV, is there? The Rookie, The Good Doctor, The Bad Lawyer, The Crappy Accountant. Hey, network TV, are you wondering why you're getting killed by streaming? You're still making the same awful shows. I check my movie channels, and if nothing is on, I go to the bank of movies and specials on my PVR, and I'll just watch one of those. Video comfort food. Movies I could, and do, watch again and again and again. Casablanca, Stand By Me, Dial M for Murder, Beetlejuice, The Big Lebowski, Pulp Fiction. Well, I got about 24. I've got a couple of streaming services, but I don't know, the menu's just too big. By the time you search and scroll, it's like going to one of those chain pubs. There's just too much on the menu. After a while, you're just like, I don't know, bring me a cheeseburger. Anyway, that's my day. Does it sound pitiful? Maybe. I know I like it. At the end of each day, I can't wait to do it all again tomorrow.
And here was the deal. If you were nominated for the People's Choice Award, they would call ahead and say, "Oh, by the way, Larry, you're the winner of the People's Choice Award." And you'd think, whoa!
Later That Same Life is written, voiced, and produced by Larry Fedoruk. LarryFedoruk37@gmail.com. Subscribe to Larry's podcast YouTube channel. Get automatic notifications with each new episode.